I'm Maggie, a 35-year-old nurse. My husband, Jason, is 40 and a corporate employee. Our daughter, Emily, is about to turn 4. Until recently, we were living happily as a family of 3, but then a series of events turned everything upside down. Jason and I met almost 10 years ago. We both left our hometowns to attend college and ended up working in the city. Being introduced by a friend, we hit it off because we were from the same town and soon started dating. Eventually, we began to think about marriage and, after many discussions, realized we both wanted to return to our hometown someday. So, we decided to start our married life back in our hometown. Jason's company had a branch in our hometown. When his transfer request was accepted, I quit my job at the hospital and we moved back home together. We started our new life in this house where we live now. Both of our workplaces and Jason's parents' house are within a 30-minute drive from here. And my parents' house is a bit farther but still reachable in under an hour. Fortunately, I quickly found a new employment. I was able to continue working as a nurse, living busy but fulfilling days. We struggled to have children after marriage and felt some pressure and anxiety from those around us. But our relationship remained calm and steady. Then, after 3 years, we were blessed with a child. When Emily was born, Jason cried tears of joy. "Maggie, thank you so much. You've done so well. Our life is going to be lively now, no more loneliness." We had moved away from our college friends to start our life here, and Jason might have felt lonelier than me. The reason is that this place isn't exactly his hometown. He was actually born and raised in a neighboring state, and his parents moved here after he got into college. The town where his childhood home was is more than 3-hour drive from here. It's not a distance where you can casually meet up with old classmates. Moreover, Jason had to give up his hobby, soccer, as he couldn't find teammates here. I understood the stress he might have felt, including the loneliness, but I'm not sure if I was attentive enough. I might be making excuses, but I was handling most of the housework and working hard as a nurse, even during my pregnancy. As a result, I didn't have much spare time. We didn't even have much time to spend together as a couple. I talked with Jason about our future. That's when I realized that my well-intentioned efforts had backfired. I was trying to lessen his burden by doing all the housework, but he wanted to do it together. Jason is a social person. But if he had been turning down socializing outside of work hours because of housework, it would be hard for him to make friends. That's why I kept refusing his offer to help with chores because I didn't want to trouble him. Thinking back, it's ridiculous to think of it as a trouble. I talked to my boss about getting exempt from night shifts for a while. It was to make sure we had time to spend and talk as a couple. I was ready to change jobs if necessary, but my request was accepted without much fuss. In our rural area, it's assumed that women take care of housework and childcare. So mothers with young children are not expected to work night shifts. I'm fed up with these old-fashioned ideas, but I try not to let it bother me. Jason was teased for being a modern dad just for taking Emily to her checkups and vaccinations, but we just ignore it. As Emily grew and could do more things day by day, we, as a couple, rejoiced together, and before we knew it, 4 years had passed. But lately, I've been worried. Jason's behavior has become strange, or rather, distant. When I talk to him, he either ignores me or just gives perfunctory responses. He seems less interested in Emily too. He's been taking her to his parents' house more often but has stopped playing with her outside near our home. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but it's been getting worse, and he's stopped doing any housework or childcare. Shutting himself in his room. He's started coming home late on weekdays and going out randomly on weekends. Emily has also stopped talking to Jason much. What should I do? This isn't good for my daughter. But my husband doesn't seem to be willing to talk about it. After much thought, I decided to reduce my working hours and focus more on housework and childcare. I thought maybe he was too exhausted to do anything. As my daughter grew, I increased my working hours and now I'm even doing evening shifts. Of course, I consulted with my husband, but our time for conversation has decreased, and he might feel burdened. I need to return to the routine of coming home early, enjoying family meals together, and having quality time with the family like we used to. I spoke up and managed to switch back to daytime shifts only. I've been trying hard, making meals from scratch instead of buying pre-made dishes, but there's been no change in my husband's behavior. He doesn't initiate conversation and responds unenthusiastically when I talk to him. He doesn't even try to look at me. When I ask if he's tired or if there's something bothering him, he just says, nothing in particular, so I've stopped talking more than necessary. Even though I know something needs to be done, I can't find a solution, and now my husband is about to take a long break from work. In his company, after a busy period, employees take turns taking about a week off to use up their vacation days. I really wanted to travel or do some leisure activities with my daughter, who has become more understanding. But I didn't want to add to my husband's stress, so I gave up on the idea. Instead, I made a suggestion to help him relieve stress. Do you have any plans for your upcoming time off? Nothing in particular. How about visiting your old classmates? Or you could go on a trip with your parents. Yeah, maybe I will. On the day, my husband left without saying anything. He returned home a week later, but I have no idea where he was or who he was with. Still, his face expression seemed a bit lighter, which relieved me. Since then, he's been going away overnight more frequently. He leaves on Friday night and doesn't come home until Monday, apparently going straight to work from wherever he is. I still don't know what he's doing or where. Maybe he's meeting old friends or has found a new hobby. We still don't talk much as a couple, but since he doesn't seem to be in a bad mood, I'm just watching the situation. After a while, I fell ill and went for a checkup at the hospital where I work. The blood test results weren't good, and I was advised to undergo further testing. They found a malignant tumor. I consider myself lucky that it was found early thanks to a routine check. It looks like it can be removed with endoscopic surgery. But still, I was incredibly downhearted. I told my husband about the discovery of my illness and the need for surgery and hospitalization. He just responded without looking up from his phone. I see. I was so sad that I lost my words. I managed the housework and prepared my belongings until the day before hospitalization. My husband took our daughter and went back to his parents' house. He said he would be going to work from there and wouldn't be back for a while. In fact, he brought up divorce yesterday. He said it's not just about removing the bad part with surgery, there's treatment afterward. It's not just the trouble, but the burden on me, our daughter, and my parents. It's too much, so let's just end this. Burden. His words pierced my heart, and I had no strength to argue. After being discharged, I called my in-laws, and they also pressured me to divorce. We'll take Emily, just pay child support. Please get the divorce over quickly. He's sending the divorce papers. Sign them as soon as they arrive. I was hoping to have my husband bring our daughter back, but they refused to send her back. I don't even know if my husband is there, he won't come to the phone. I was doing housework in a daze, but something felt off. Even for a house left empty, it was too messy. Had my husband returned? And then, I found the evidence. While cleaning my husband's room, I found women's loungewear. Just as I feared. I took out the brown envelope I had hidden in the storage and checked its contents with trembling hands. It was the report from the private investigator I hired when I first started suspecting something was off with my husband. I had received it a few days ago and knew the contents were bad, but I was too scared to look. The results were damning. Worse yet, he had been bringing his affair partner into our home, which was the worst part. Feeling disgusted and forgetting I had just had surgery, I thoroughly cleaned the entire house. Eventually, I returned to work. I was assigned to outpatient care, which is less physically demanding. Then, one day, a decisive incident occurred. My husband was involved in a traffic accident and brought to the hospital where I work. It was an accident during a date with his affair partner, who apparently came in the ambulance with him. I rushed into the treatment room. I'm Jason's wife. Is my husband here? Seeing me, the room buzzed with whispers. The hospital staff thought the two brought in were a married couple, not involved in an affair. Wait, your husband? Then who was the woman earlier? Oh, she's gone. She had just a scratch and went home, people murmured while attending to him. Okay, let's get you out of these clothes. Suddenly, my husband started yelling, "Don't look. It's okay." While being restrained by several nurses, his shirt and undershirt were removed. What? I couldn't help but gasp. There was a tattoo on my husband's chest. A heart pierced by an arrow, with a woman's name. I couldn't believe it. Leaving my husband, who was causing a commotion, I rushed out of the treatment room. I had confirmed he wasn't in life-threatening danger and didn't want to be embarrassed further. My husband was hospitalized for a broken clavicle and ribs. I got permission and went home to get his change of clothes. A few hours later, I entered his hospital room with his belongings, finding my husband in bed after treatment. My in-laws and daughter were also there. Mommy. Emily, have you been good?
Yeah.
Mommy, are you getting better? Yes, I'm getting better. My daughter's concern for my health gave me strength. I told my husband and in-laws that I had something to say and asked a colleague to look after Emily. I've decided to divorce Jason. Now. What's going on in a time like this? It's okay, Mom. Better sooner than later. I'll take care of Emily. What? Don't be ridiculous. We'll take Emily. Then let me ask, do you know where Emily wants to go the most? What vegetables has she learned to eat well? What's her favorite character? You can't answer, can you? You haven't been spending time with Emily, have you? Just leaving everything to your parents, right? I handed the brown envelope to my father-in-law afterward. My in-laws, after seeing the contents, were silently pale. But they didn't lose their composure. They must have known about their son's affair. I will take custody of our daughter. I won't let you two be involved with her ever again. You can't just not let us see her, that's impossible. Jason has a tattoo of another woman's name and a heart mark on his chest. Is that the act of a suitable father? My in-laws, apparently unaware of the tattoo, were making a scene. I continued, unfazed. I mentioned the disarrayed house, the women's loungewear on the messy bed. It's absolutely unforgivable that he brought his affair partner to our home while his wife was hospitalized. My in-laws, by turning a blind eye to their son's affair and neglecting his daughter, were as guilty as he was. I declared my intent to fight for custody and demand child support. And to seek alimony from my husband and his affair partner. I cannot entrust my daughter to a father who abandons her for an affair. My mother-in-law tried to say something. Probably about how they've been properly taking care of my daughter. I ignored her and pressed on. If you want mediation or a court battle, go ahead. But remember, it might become public knowledge that Jason's affair is the reason. Soon after, the divorce was finalized, and I got custody of our daughter, so we moved. Turns out my ex-husband's affair was a double adultery, and he's also being sued for alimony by his partner's husband. In our small town, the rumors eventually spread, and my ex-husband is now in an awkward position at his company. But he can't quit his job because of the alimony and child support payments. Interestingly, my ex-husband didn't have savings, so his father extended his retirement and his mother started working part-time to help out. Since tomorrow is a day off, let's go out. Emily, where do you want to go? I want to see the elephants. Then let's go to the zoo and eat something delicious on the way back.
Yay!
My health has improved, and I'm living peacefully with my daughter.